Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam. Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. It is Tuesday, August 30th, 2022. And I'm about 3 weeks in of getting the date right. And I'm so proud of myself. We'll see what happens next week. Listen, we are not going to be able to go in and do a lot of the greetings we do because we have not a stranger, my friend and sister, an advocate. I've been putting on social media that I've given her a different name. It's now Ayanna, cancel student debt Presley. And so we're getting ready to bring her into the room, but not to waste our time or anything, but y'all hit that share button and get some more folks in here so they can hear the information about canceling student debt. What are the details? How can folks sign up for resources and information? So go ahead and hit that share button. And without further ado, I'd like to bring in my good friend and sister, Lord Jesus, I was going to say counselor, Congresswoman Ayanna Cancel Student Debt Presley. And here she is. And I am so excited to have you in the room. And always excited to have you in the room. But you know, I've watched you lead the charge around a few things, but this AP, with all due respect, is major. But good morning. Good to see you in the room.
Good morning. And yes, it is major.
It's I saw that head nod. So before we get into the business, you know, I always check in on you around, you know, maybe naming one word that describes how you're doing today from a mental health standpoint, because though there are things being done or accomplished, there's still a canyon, not room. There's a canyon for improvement. And so I know you're still advocating for other things, women's rights to make decisions about their bodies and different things like that. So please let us know, first of all, how you're doing.
I'm doing great. I'm just centering gratitude, you know, in all things.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm feeling very good.
And so your word is great or gratitude?
Gratitude or grateful.
Listen. It's your word, so you can pick one.
That's what I'm feeling this morning. Grateful.
Grateful. Yes, ma'am. And so I know you have many reasons, Conan and your baby and life and everything that's going on. But in the work, can you just, I'm wondering, I have no idea, Congresswoman, why would you be grateful for other reasons?
Well, I'm grateful because help is on the way to 43 million people. In the form of meaningful student debt relief and in the instances for many cancellation outright. So this what President Biden has done is be responsive to the movement that elected him. We held him accountable to a promise that was made on the campaign trail, and I've been leading that fight in the House and using every tool available to me, the power of the pen. In writing legislation and resolutions and correspondence to the White House on this, the power of convening, getting other House caucuses like the Congressional Black Caucus and the Congressional Progressive Caucus to make this issue a priority, and also bringing others along. In 2 years, not only have we seen the NAACP and other civil rights organizations make student debt cancellation a top tier frontline issue that they were fighting for, but we've also been able to build a coalition of borrowers, of grassroots organizers, and of organized labor. From the AFL-CIO to American Federation for Teachers to United Auto Workers, and I could go on. So I'm feeling grateful because we have leveraged the power of the movement, the power of convening, the power of the pen, the power of us to bring this meaningful, transformative change people's way. And one of the things that strengthened our hand in these negotiations, and I was in negotiations up until probably 8 o'clock in the morning with the White House before this announcement came out. One of the things that strengthened our hand, other than the fact that the coalition had grown and was reflective of the crisis, representing people from every walk of life, is that we were successful in getting the student loan payment pause during the pandemic 3 times.
Yep.
And so in real time, we were able to report back what that meant. People were able to remain safely housed. Some people became first-generation homeowners. People were able to purchase essential goods. And that mattered, in the midst of a pandemic-induced recession, and then inflation hit. And so, we said, look how impactful this has been just with these 3 pauses. Imagine how much more transformational and meaningful by executive action with the stroke of a pen, the hardship and the burden that you can alleviate. And I don't call it student debt forgiveness on purpose because there's nothing to forgive, because we've done nothing wrong. And people feel that way when they're burdened by debt and they're carrying great shame, and it takes a psychological toll. But we are only doing, and Black folks in particular, what we have been told. We were told we live in a meritocracy. We were told education is the great equalizer. And the more out of reach that equalizer became, the more loans people took on, and Black borrowers disproportionately, because Black folks have been locked out of every federal relief program, from the Homestead Act to the New Deal to the GI Bill. We've been adversely impacted by discriminatory policies like redlining. So Black folks are done better generation to generation, but we've done better in income. Income is not wealth. And so with the president's plan, canceling $20,000 of debt for Pell Grant recipients and $10,000 in debt for non-Pell Grant recipients, Black borrowers are disproportionately Pell Grant recipients. So 1 in 4 Black borrowers will have their debt zeroed out completely.
So I saw a post on Dee Lavender out of Baltimore. So you're our Congresswoman, but this is having national impact. And she said that she went to.
Say that again.
You're having national. Come on, somebody.
That's right.
National impact. And it 43 million. So that's not just in the Mass 7th. And so she said she went to sign up, and Congresswoman, she said it was a zero balance. You know what I mean? So there, sip that. And so while there is joy there and everything you named, I would be remiss if I did not ask you a few things that you touched on. There is also, unfortunately, this sentiment, not just with, higher ups and perceived powers that be and, the elites or whatever, but there is sort of this even groundswell on social media around, well, I paid off my loans. I don't think this is fair. And what do I get? And then they need to tax it. And I did see a little beginning of an article that now this is Mass 7, that Mr. Lame Duck governor, might be considering taxing that income. So let me back up and just say, what is it that you would say to people that's screaming it's not fair?
Well, I am one of those. I'm the statistic. Black borrowers borrow at 85%, and then we're 5 times more likely to default. I was one of those. It took me decades to pay off my student loans, and that default affected my credit score and so many other things. And so I've paid off my loans, and I still want the road to be easier for my daughter and all those coming behind me. So how are we operating? So my air wasn't breathable and my water wasn't clean. And so that's what I want for the next generation. The cost of higher education has increased by 150%. So again, you cannot say we live in a meritocracy and it is the equalizer while it continues to be out of reach for people. And that is why our work is not done. We have to address the root causes of inaffordability when it comes to higher education. I'm of the belief that federally, we should be investing in higher education as the public good that it is. We need to invest in HBCUs. By the way, the presidents of HBCUs were using ARPA funds to cancel student debt. which again proved that this is a racial justice issue. All the needs our HBCUs have, having been woefully and chronically underfunded and invested in. And that's how they chose to spend those funds. They were pace setters, in this space. So we have to invest in HBCUs, invest in Pell Grants, invest in tuition-free college. And I'm not just talking the talk, I'm walking the walk. As you know, I delivered $8 million in community project funding to this district, and $1 million of that was for tuition-free community college at Bunker Hill Community College. So the other thing that I've done is I introduced legislation, again, using the power of the pen, the Student Borrower Credit Improvement Act, which would make it easier for people to rehabilitate their credit when you have defaulted on your loan. So, we're going to get at this at every angle. Our work isn't done, but this is a moment of celebration, because you cannot deny 43 million people going to bed, sleeping a little bit better, and waking up the next day feeling a little bit more hopeful. That matters. And this is exactly the type of work that Democrats need to be doing. People need to feel the impact of our policies. And that is the greatest motivator. I think when we don't move with boldness and urgency to meet them at their hardship and their aspirations, that's voter suppression. This is the sort of policies that Democrats need to be advancing. I think it's good politics and it's good policy.
Congresswoman, how important is it? There's a belief, though, and I said that, your work is hitting well beyond Massachusetts. And there's a belief around some things, abortion rights and things like that, that Massachusetts, is okay, in the vein of that may be a little bit presumptuous, because there's some stats out around the amount of people that voted for he, as you say, who used to occupy the White House, versus some, though Massachusetts was a Democratic state. Long story short, how important is it that we participate? I will say this. I've noticed with you this campaign season that with electeds and candidates, sometimes you usually see like a bump when it's time for election season. You've been even keeled in the sense that you've been going hard since you got in. And so part of me kind of forgot that you're running, because it's just been consistency. But there's some folks that you endorsed, and we'll talk about the importance of getting people in the office that perpetuate the work that you're doing. But how important is it that we participate in the electoral process? How important is it in 2022? Do we still have to say that?
Absolutely. And it's personal, and you should vote your interest, right? So as my candidate for Secretary of State, Tanisha Sullivan, articulates us so well, elections determine who is elected, and who is elected determines what the policies are. So I think it is fair to say that were it not for the representation in elected leadership with myself, with Senator Warren, Rep. Omar, Jim Clyburn, I could go on. These have been some of my closest allies in the fight for student debt cancellation and partners in that work. That would not have happened, right? So whether you're, and this is true at every level of government, you don't have a Crown Act passed. You don't see police reform. You don't have a maternal morbidity crisis, being addressed and tackled, at the State House without representative leadership. So vote your interest. Elections matter at every level. That certainly has been proven as we see these ongoing threats to undermine our democracy. You have a greater appreciation for just how much the Secretary of State matters, how much the mayor matters in the midst of these attacks on bodily autonomy and reproductive freedom. I chair the Abortion Rights and Access Task Force under the Pro-Choice Caucus. I'm the lead sponsor of the Women's Health Protection Act, which would enshrine Roe on the federal level. It's passed the House twice and been obstructed by the Senate. But thankfully, because of representative leadership in the State House, we passed the Roe Act, several years ago, so that abortion care is still health care, is still the law of the land here in the Commonwealth. So, this matters, and it matters at every level of government. So vote your interest. Vote your interest. Elections determine who is elected, and who is elected determine what the policies are. And the policies determine who lives, who dies, who survives, who thrives, period. I'm not being hyperbolic. That's what policies determine. who lives, who dies, who survives, who thrives.
Congresswoman, in that vein and kind of off the cuff, but we're bringing it local, and you talk about Crown Act and things that are done at the state, and you were well aware of this as a city councilor, and I'm sure. And I'll just throw this in too, that it took me a couple of years to understand the transition of you being a city councilor to a congresswoman. And though this is your district and you care about the local issues, your advocacy has moved to a level that helps support the state and local. One of the things that we talk about around policy, who lives and who dies, is mass and cast. Mass and cast is, it's not anything I need to educate you about. And so what is it that you would say to the people that have thought they elected people that are going to address it, have fought and advocated, and the encampment is now back? And so what is it that you would say to how we take what you did with cancel student debt and other things that you're moving? How can we apply some of that, assist you at a federal level, but then what is the trickle down of your doing? How can it be better demonstrated on a local level?
Okay, well, first thing, I think it's important to recognize that, look, when you want system change and not just programmatic change, that one action, won't undo that. It takes vigilance, a sustained movement, and you should always feel emboldened in holding your elected officials accountable. I know you all don't suffer for doing that with me. So, you should always hold your elected officials accountable. And I think Stacey Abrams, our collective candidate here for governor in Georgia, gets it right when she says we don't elect saviors. We elect partners. So in this period of in this election season, and we are in early vote right now, again, vote your interest. Representation matters at every level of government. Who votes determine who gets elected. Who's elected determines what the policies are. Policies determine everything. And then once people are in office, because you're also choosing who you want to be your partner, hold your partners accountable, right?
Oh, they have been.
They're not, but we're not saviors. We're not saviors. And again, when you're talking about something that is pervasive and systemic, and you're talking about that within the context of a global pandemic, inflation, a pandemic-induced recession, a so-called national reckoning on racial injustice, those issues become that much more exacerbated. I also secured $1 million investment at Dimmick Community Health Center in that $8 million that I secured for the district and community project funding. And that's for their substance use disorder program, which is wraparound and holistic, includes housing, because during the pandemic, we saw an increase of opioid fatalities amongst Black men by 60%. So I will just say federally in terms of what my role is, because you're not the only one who thinks I'm still a city councilor.
Used to. I said it took 2 years. You've been in how long?
Yeah. No, my job is to deliver, federal resources, and my job is to set federal policy. And so that's what I do. Now, that doesn't mean that I, what is the word? Recuse myself from any of the what's happening on the municipal or state level, because I could argue that in our delegation, I probably lean in the most on those issues because I represent the most unequal congressional district in our delegation. And so on any issue of consequence, municipal or state, I'm going to operate with discretion, but where I can lean in and help to see that legislation move, I'm certainly going to do that. And we have done that on reproductive justice, on police reform, on voting rights, getting jail-based voting included. But I want to just say something about Black men for a moment, because I shared that data point about the opioid fatalities increasing by 60% for Black men during the pandemic. James, on Thursday, I'm having an inaugural convening of a group that I've created called Ayana for Black Men. And this is different because normally what you see from elected officials, and I've done this too, is they will have constituencies that are for them, right? So women for Ayana, environmentalists or cyclists.
Professionals for, yes, yeah.
Right? But we are with intention with this effort saying Ayanna for Black men. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I love Black men. I love my husband. I love my father. I love the many Black men that I've been intentional about onboarding in my organization, both on the political side and official side, to showcase their leadership, to develop them, to pour into them. And, you know, I think that we need to do a better job at loving on our Black men, at not erasing them from the narrative when it comes to our democracy. True enough, Black women still vote at higher rates, and we're the most reliable voting constituency for the Democratic Party. But the Black vote has been the most reliable. So that includes Black men who have also been defenders of democracy, for whom also have leverage and deserve to be seen and heard, and to not be defined simply by the social issues that they're disproportionately impacted by. I just want to bring Black men together, deliver a love letter to them. And I'm so desperate to get this right by our Black men. And I just want to hear from and learn from and be led by them directly, because I'm doing the work of Black liberation. And you cannot do the work of Black liberation without the Black man. And I want every Black man at the table. I want disabled Black men at the table. I want, faith-based, divine nine. I want queer Black men, young, old. I just want Black men to feel seen and heard. I know that brothers see me. They thank me every day for my advocacy on behalf of their grandmother and their mama and their daughter and their sister and their wife. But you know what matters more to me is that I need for Black men to know that I see them. Mm-hmm. It's cool. Thank you for seeing me. That's humbling. But it matters more to me that they know, trust, and believe that I see them, and that and not just their struggle and their hardship, but their aspiration and their innovation and their brilliance and their genius. And I think that we need to do better, both in the narrative and in the policies that we advance and the implementation of them. And so that's why I'm creating this table. That's what I'm creating, this table, a new one.
I'm a little bit older than AP, so I call her my younger big sister. You're going to get me, and this is why I need to utilize the staff more. I'm doing a Your Healthy Java on Thursday and didn't remember, and so I'm going to probably pop in a little bit late.
That's okay.
But
this isn't a one-off. This is not a one-off.
Absolutely.
This isn't a one-off.
It is definitely important, and thank you for naming all aspects of men, young and old, queer, within the spectrum of Black men, because there is and you, January 6th, other stuff, you see more than most that there is what some people have termed as the browning of America. And the white supremacists, AP, they're scared, they're desperate. And it's not just we pay attention and we see at the federal level, but as our former congressmen said, all politics are local. And it's unfortunate that we see that demonstrated on local levels as well. And so it's good to hear that you are bringing us together, because I think you're one, and I would love to just close out maybe with this. Well, 1 minute of, I want to end with some Black joy, is you do believe that we can walk and chew gum at the same time. We can protect our Black women and see Black men at the same time. Correct?
We have to. Again, I can't do the work of Black liberation and not do that in lockstep with Black men. And so this is not political for me. This is my heart's work. This is deeply personal. It is as personal as my advocacy on the council on behalf of girls and women. Yep. This is my heart's work. Those who know me and know me well know that there are ways of which I've been intentional about centering and lifting up and doing the work of advancing Black men in a lot of ways. But this is now a more coordinated and targeted effort and focus, and I hope that folks will join us.
Absolutely. I'm like I said, I'll be tipping in late. One of the things I did.
Sorry, James, one more thing I wanted to say.
Yes.
The other thing that I remember in the midst of high profile incidents of police brutality, and Black men being murdered in the midst of the pandemic, I just posted a tweet that said, Black men, you deserve to grow old. And I can't tell you how many Black men have come up to me since then just about that one message, because that should not even be a radical notion. Black men, you deserve to grow old. You deserve a life free from fear and discrimination, a life that is defined by joy and not trauma. And again, that's why I'm creating this table. And I want to make sure we get the information in there. I'll have my folks drop it into the
listen, brother Anthony. Okay, so we'll correlate with this. This is the information in the comments.
There we go. A shout out. Speaking of Black men, a shout out to the Davis system. Shout out. This is, Anthony Davis.
That's the dude. That's the dude.
You ain't never lied, and this is, I'm so fortunate to have, his brilliance at the table, and grateful for his leadership. He got right away the concept of what I wanted to do. And so, as he said, pull up Thursday to join us.
Thursday,
Ayana for Black men.
Ayana for Black men. Now, listen, we're going to have to, because, you're the only guest I've had where I know something is going on with conflict and I'm still promoting it. But no, it is, like you said, it's not a one-off, but it is definitely important. And what I'm doing Thursday night is around health. And so maybe at some point
it's all the same. It's, Black men have the lowest life expectancy.
Listen,
so all these things are interconnected.
And I feel, and I know we got to go right now. Also, I want to end with some Black joy. We understand that we really haven't seen the impact on a mental health level of COVID. We haven't seen it yet. And so one of the folks, and I call him uncle, you call him brother, that moves in a space of Black joy. What would you say to our Uncle Thaddeus? He has his event coming up on September 9th with the release of Black Joy. What is it that you would say to Uncle today? He's in the room, and he's making sure, like your husband often says, we belong everywhere. So
yes. He gets on me when I use that and I don't quote him. I don't credit the source.
You got to quote him, and you probably can or can't, but you got to do. I cannot talk about Conan without using the voice. But let's end on a joy or on a note of Black joy.
So to Thaddeus again, I'll just say I'm grateful for this visionary Black man. I'm grateful that we have a day in the city of Boston, thanks to Mayor Janey, and thanks to Councilor Mejia, and thanks to Thaddeus. That is intentional about celebrating and informing our Black joy. And I would just ask, all of us as Black folk to be as unapologetic in your joy as you are about the radical and bold work that we do every day. We are so defined by our resilience, but that resilience was shaped by tremendous hardship. And so, so my plea is that we would give ourselves permission to be as unapologetic in our Black joy and in our healing.
Congresswoman, as always, I really appreciate you. There's acknowledgement around just what you've done and being the advocate, especially around cancel student debt. Thank you for addressing the piece around mass and cast, and also along with what Anthony shared, the staff was in the private chat making sure, if you look in the comments, there are 2 resources where you can go and get information about how to sign up to get all the details about canceling student debt. And so Ayana cancel student debt ... women's rights ... for Black men ... AP, we appreciate you and everything that you're doing, and we'll definitely be in touch.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Have a blessed one.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Hey, everyone. That was our Congresswoman, Ayanna Pressley, who came in and provided an update for one of the biggest pieces of legislation that can be done when it comes to economic impact in our community. And so definitely check out the links there. And just now see, this is why and kind of a side note, but I got to get to a point where I don't care if people think that I'm wonderful. I screw up my schedule if I handle it. And now, after I said I would be at this event on Thursday, where I was contacted about 3 weeks, a month ago, I went and scheduled a live recording of Your Healthy Java. And so I'm going to have to leave there and run to this event. But please keep in mind, and I will put the link up here as well, because there is limited seating for this event. Hold on. I'm typing Your Healthy Java because I will type what I am talking. Okay, there we go. All right. So this is the link to register, all lowercase JWJ info/ Your Healthy Java 9122. All right, so go there and register. We are doing a live recording this Thursday at the Dudley Cafe, but you have to register. You cannot just show up. There is no registration at the door. You have to be registered in order to enter. And so that will be at Dudley Cafe. We are feeding you. Won't be a 4-course dinner, but it also won't be crudité. So come out on Thursday. It starts at 6 o'clock. We'll be over by 7:30, and then I'm going to have to shoot like a bat out of hell and get over to the Ayanna Presley for Black Men event. Thank you all for tuning in today. And I think we are all set. No, Anthony, it isn't you. It isn't you, not you. I'm talking about some other folks. You get it, but no. Nowhere in that thing there. And I had already committed, but and then there's certain people that, you know, you get a text or whatever, you just handle it on your end. So like Anthony and Thaddeus, you know, I'm not sending them to Tay. So anyway, all right. I'm getting off of here. Sharon said, put it up again. Hold on. Here we go. Sharon, here's the link. Actually, you know what, Sharon? I'll put it in the comments. Let me do that. I'll put it in the comments as well. Hold on for 1 second. Cut and paste is your friend, Jesus. All right. Copy, save. There's the link again, Sharon, and I will put it in the comments as well. All right. So there is the link in the comments. It should hyperlink. It's a bit.ly link, so it should be all set. So that's Thursday evening at 6 o'clock at Dudley Cafe. You have to register. You have to register. You have to register. We have limited, and when I say limited capacity with the guests, the MGH folks. Shout out to Massachusetts General Hospital, who is the sponsor and our partner in this event. We are recording to cast that next Tuesday. We will still have Your Healthy Java appear on the first and third Tuesday of every month. The other thing is tomorrow, right now, at this very moment, it'll just be me for We Need to Know Wednesdays. But tomorrow evening at 8 p.m., Carlos Enriquez and I are doing a Java After Dark around Boston Poly. And when I tell y'all, this is going to be very, very, I've seen some of the comments and whatnot already. This is going to be interesting. So tomorrow evening at 8 p.m., Java After Dark. Then on Thursday morning at 9 a.m., candidate for District Attorney for Suffolk County, Ricardo Arroyo will be with us. He's coming into the Java Cafe. There's been a lot going on in the media, the allegations, how some folks are responding to me, just perpetuate some of the old Boston, the racist Boston. Just if you're on Twitter, go and look at Boston Poly, the hashtag Boston Poly. Terrible. And this doesn't take away, as I said the other day, from centering the women. Away from that, the response to the expediting of just some of the old Boston has just been very interesting. And so we're going to talk about Mass and Cass, the DA's race, and a few other things. So that will be tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And then on Friday at 12 noon, we have attorney Andrea Campbell, who is candidate for Attorney General here in the state of Massachusetts. So we will have a special edition on Friday at 12 noon with Andrea Campbell. This is the GOTV weekend on Memorial Day weekend, it just baffles me because all of the city, I don't understand how the Election Commission, this came up a few years ago, and the issue was they found out that you have to Folks that are working on Labor Day to get ready for Election Day the next day, that's a holiday. I believe that might be, I got to double check, because little that we were aware, when the state approved the minimum wage of around $15 or going higher, there's a little piece they put in there about not paying, I believe, time and a half around a holiday shift. So we're going to have to look that up and pay a lot. Oh, hey, Brother Conan's in the room. We belong everywhere. Hi, Brother Conan. White back, bruh. If you ain't said a word, so yeah, we need to pay attention to what's going on. And it's just so interesting. So anyway, we're going to get ready to wrap up. We will see you guys. Hold on. Why can't I get this? Where did I put that at? All right, there it goes. All right, there we go. So that's the lineup for the rest of this week. And I think that's it for me. Thank you guys for tuning in today. And we will see you tomorrow at 9 a.m., tomorrow at 8 p.m., Thursday at 9 a.m. with Ricardo Arroyo, and also Friday at 12 noon with Andrea Campbell. Also, keep your ears open. In collaboration with the Boston Chamber of Commerce, the Urgency of Now Festival. I'm actually taking part in 2 separate events, the Waterfront Coalition's event, and then I'm doing a podcast at the New England Aquarium. So I just got invited this morning. So getting the details around that. And I think that is pretty much it for me. So also don't forget next Friday on the 9th, not next Friday. Yeah, next Friday, the 9th, we will be with Thaddeus at the ICA. Amandi Music is going to be there. I don't have the flyer in front of me. DJ Y Sham. And hold on. Let me get the flyer. Hold on. Here it goes. Okay, so Black Joy 20. I'll put this on the page. Black Joy Day 2022 kickoff Friday, September 9th, 6 to 9 p.m. Institute of Contemporary Art, Boston. Black Joy 20, Harbor Shore Drive. Free performances by Amandi Music, Eve C, and DJ Y Sham. And I believe yours truly is emceeing. I got to double check. I believe, because Uncle Thaddeus didn't think I was going to be here. I'm not missing his event, even though I'm telling you, my birthday is the day before, just to put that little plug out there. All right, I'm getting off of here. See you guys tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Hold on, a couple of comments. All right. Urgency of Now is dope. Thank you. Thank you, because I thought I messed up. Asia. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. All right, y'all. Peace and have a great. It is Testimony Tuesday. So make your day. Find a testimony in there. We didn't really, AP testified about the accomplishment of student debt. But remember, testimony comes with tests, but the testimony comes after you were able to accomplish it. So you've been in some things before. You're still here and made it through. So you'll get through this as well.